You're listening to another episode of the Ana Vivo podcast. Thank you for your time.
The Oak Island Money Pit, a mysterious hole in Oak Island, Nova Scotia, that has been the subject of treasure hunting and excavations for centuries. Many believe it holds valuable treasures, while others believe it's a natural sinkhole or a man-made booby trap.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So many of you have seen this show. It's on the Discovery Channel, I believe, or maybe the National Geographic Channel. I can't remember. Or the History. Actually, I think it's on the History Channel. And it is the Oak Island folks who bought this property that theoretically had this massive pit
Booty.
of booty that was dug. Now, as a kid, I was really into pirates, and we lived on the East Coast for a while, so that's pirate territory. And I remember reading these awesome pirate books, and one in particular about this event where someone had dug a pit so deep and buried their treasure down underneath, and then had halfway up put a board or a platform, I guess, and then filled it up with water, and then another board, and then covered it up. And it was essentially a self-sealing trap that if you didn't know how to dig down and get the treasure, and you were just going treasure hunting because you had found the map or whatever, and you dug through these boards, once you cracked the boards, the pit would fill up with, would flood, essentially, and nobody would ever be able to get the treasure, at least not at that time, because they didn't have scuba diving equipment or excavators or whatever. And I thought that was so cool. And I've got this mechanical mind, which is ironic for anybody who knows me because I'm the least mechanically gifted. But I have this booby trap engineering mechanical mind. And there's a word for what these are called, and I don't know what it is, but you see on
Rube Goldberg.
Ruth Goldberg?
Rube Goldberg.
Rube?
Yeah. Goldberg machine.
A Rube Goldberg machine. I don't have any idea what that is.
I hate you.
What is that?
You know those machines where you flick a coin and it lands on a toothpick and the toothpick flips over and pops a...
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg
Yeah, no,
machine.
that's what I'm talking about. No, I used to make those. No, it's not a machine. It's a contraption that does a bunch of different things.
Yeah, they're called Rube Goldberg machines.
What? Why?
Because Rube Goldberg made those types of things all the time.
I made those types of things all the time. Why are they not called Tim Miller machines? What? You're telling me this other noob, post me, started making these things, and because he coined it on the internet for the first time, it's now called a Rube?
No.
His name was Rube?
Rube Goldberg.
That's his name, Rube.
Yeah.
Sounds like noob.
Best known American cartoonist, sculptor, engineer, inventor. Popular cartoons depicting complicated gadgets performing a simple task in convoluted ways.
That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
Performing simple tasks in convoluted ways. Yeah. When was it? Who is this? And when was he?
You know this guy, 1883.
Okay.
This guy's way before the Tim Miller
How do you
machine.
spell his first name?
Rube.
Seriously.
Yeah.
His name is Rube.
You've heard of a Rube Goldberg machine.
I've never heard of this ever.
That's hilarious.
But that was my point. Is there's got to be a word for this, and apparently
there is. Yeah.
there is. All right, so there's this word now we've all learned today on the show. Rube, apparently a name. Sounds a lot like noob. I'm sorry, Rube, and Rube's descendants. When was he?
1883.
1883. Okay, Rube Goldberg. Goldberg?
Yep.
And he was a cartoonist and engineer, apparently, who did all this stuff. Anyway, you've seen all these videos before of people, especially during the COVID pandemic, pandemic. Did I say pandemic? Are we still, is that okay to say now? Separate conversation. Where they're sitting there, in their homes by martial law, and they've got nothing better to do with their lives than create these machines, these convoluted machines to get a card into something or a marble into something or whatever. And you see all these videos now of people doing this. But back in the day when I was a kid, the very first example of this in widespread media was actually Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Rube Goldberg. That's probably the most widespread example.
No. What
of
have you
Rube
seen?
Goldberg machines.
What have you seen that's Rube Goldberg?
Pull up your phone and Google Rube Goldberg machine.
I'm not. I know what you're talking about. I'm talking about those machines right now. But give me an example of where I would have seen one of these other than Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Bang Bang, probably.
Okay, that's back to the point.
You know those I Spy games that we used to play?
The early computer games?
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
You'd race a race car and it would pop a balloon. And
Yeah.
Rube Goldberg machines.
Okay. Yeah.
So Rube Goldberg's probably where you'd see it widespread.
Nobody knew. I'm saying, where would you have seen widespread examples of Rube
In his
Goldberg's-
comic books.
I don't have who has a comic book? What does he make? What comic strip?
The Rube Goldberg comic.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, while you're looking up
Yeah.
what comics he makes,
Anyways.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So the professor made these awesome, immaculate machines that would serve and cook his hot dogs or his eggs or whatever. And he was an inventor. And so as a kid, I made little things like that, apparently, Rube Goldberg machines that were convoluted processes for everyday events. And I had one that would, it was a Halloween night or something like that. And in my bedroom, I had one where Steven here would open the door and fishing string that went from my doorknob up over the door, over a hook, through a series of weights and pulleys and levers, would turn on my boombox that would play spooky music. And it would raise up a sheet from my bed that was like a ghost, and different things would happen. And it was just wildly nonsensical. But it was really cool. And to the point of what we're talking about.
They booby trapped that.
Yeah. They booby trapped which is why I was so interested in this kind of stuff. Like, wow, somebody thought of this and made all these booby traps for this supposed treasure, and it captivated me. And I was enthralled by this kind of stuff. So I can imagine that these folks who then bought this plot of land and decided to start digging there were probably also captivated by this, as are all gold rush people captivated with treasure. This idea of getting rich and striking it rich and whatever. And there's this fever that goes on with centered around massive amounts of wealth. And they start doing this. And now, obviously, it's turned into a widely publicized show. And so they're getting funding, of course. And now it's all for the drama of television and people watching this on TV, as opposed to the reality of actual treasure. And will they find it next season? But this season they found an old board and we dated it, and it definitely dates from that area.
Yeah.
Well, wait till next season, So
They're going to be on like 60 seasons.
watch them actually have found the treasure for this, and they've just been withholding it from to make multiple seasons of whatever they're digging up. So tell us about the Oak Island specifically.
So it is a legendary location, Oak Island, Nova Scotia, Canada. Said to contain mysterious treasure hoard. The story dates back to 1795, when a teenager named Daniel McGinnis discovered a depression in the ground and uncovered a layer of flagstones, pavement. Over the years, numerous attempts have been made to excavate the pit and uncover its secrets, but all have been met with frustration and disappointment. According to the legend, the pit was constructed by pirates who dug the pit, filled it with treasure before hiding it from would-be thieves, and setting up intricate booby traps, including a flooding system, like you said, that fills the pit with water whenever it's disturbed. No one has been able to uncover anything. And the deepest they've gone is,
For those of you watching the show,
160 feet.
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep.
And they did that in the 1970s, and they haven't gone deeper than that since.
What?
Yeah.
No. Because the guys on the show bring in all this heavy equipment.
Yeah.
And they drill
go
pipes
deep.
down. They go deeper. You're saying they don't go deeper than that?
That is according to my source.
That's crazy, because if they are not going deeper than what they did in the 1970s, and what's funny is if they're going down 100, you said 160 feet,
Yeah.
and that was in the 70s, and they're thinking that somehow in the late 1700s, pirates dug deeper than that to hide their treasure.
Yeah, I think 160 is
And
the
make
deepest.
these convoluted booby traps that are deeper than 160 feet with what kind of tools?
They can't. Yeah, back then, what are they using? A shovel?
Yeah, to dig 160 feet.
They can't dig too deep because they keep hitting those water traps.
Yeah. Also known as flood.
Water. A water table.
A water table. It's off the, like,
Keep getting water. I don't know what's going on.
are we near the ocean or something?
Digging holes and it just produces water.
What is this, like an aquifer system or whatever?
We've invented a new way to get water.
So I wonder, this dude found flagstone and it's like just some burial grave.
Well, no, it was a foundation for something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we found a foundation. They dug that up. They found another foundation. They dug that up. And they just keep finding foundations.
Oh, weird. Until they found the platform that then flooded.
Yeah. Well, and then they've done those long, skinny
Pipes or whatever.
pipes and they find, the flood traps.
Huh. Also known as aquifers. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I remember watching a couple episodes of that show because, you're staying in a hotel somewhere and there's nothing on TV and you're like, well, might as well watch this.
Might as well watch that since they've got it on for
And
obvious reasons.
you get through one episode and you're like, I'm so intrigued. And you get to the next episode and you're like, they're just not finding anything. And it's always about the drama.
But there's a cliffhanger of what they could be.
It's
or
always
the
like,
machine broke.
Yeah, the machine broke, or we can't get the machine out in time and the water's coming in. And yeah. And so it's always
Or
like
drama between the workers.
construction drama, essentially.
Which
and
we all deal
no
with
actual
anyway.
Treasure hunting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. For those of us in the real estate world, it's all construction drama. Why don't we just make a show about this? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is very interesting, especially since I just watched Black Sails.
Oh, yeah.
And so, which is very disappointing because they left that show on a cliffhanger with, as to do with Treasure Island.
Well, you've seen the Disney Treasure Island,
Yeah.
right? So that's the next installment.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's where you pick up.
Yeah. Go from rated R Black Sails to Disney.
Yeah, not a show recommended for most audiences.
Yeah.
Black Sails. But Treasure Island, the Disney one, heavily recommended.
So it
if
makes
you like pirates.
when you talk about stuff like Oak Island Money Pit, it's like, oh,
Long
yeah,
John Silver.
they just went out there and they were being chased and they had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, these guys put a lot more time and effort into protecting.
Right. They bought the rights and the property, whatever, and they're doing it, And I think they probably initially started out by doing it with the right reasons.
No, I mean the pirates had time to set up booby traps and it wasn't like they were being chased and had to just ditch it.
Yeah, right.
Weird. Yeah, weird stuff happens in weird places.
Those of you listening, if you've got any actual evidence or thoughts that are more formalized than what you're hearing, we would definitely love to know. You can reach us by going to anavivo.com, which is the host site for this podcast, as well as our YouTube channel, as well as our websites. And our contact information is on the bottom there. We do not have a comment section on the episode itself because we have found that to be sporadic and invaluable. And so if you want to leave us a comment, which we will reference in the show, do so by going to anavivo.com and finding our contact information and reaching out to us. So because it's popular. It's on TV. It's paid for. People are watching it. And treasure always intrigues. There's always all these shows about digging for gold and all of, finding the stuff and whatever. So people have time to spend listening to this kind of stuff. So it must have some intrinsic value, if not just to face the reality of avoiding actual work and actual things that matter in life. So So if you've got some interesting feedback or scoops on that, we would be all ears, and we would love to know. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. He'll never find the money.
You don't think so?
No.
We're going to redo an episode on this a decade from now on the same show. So shout out to the folks on the show there for planning ahead for the next decade for us. So it can be there, so we can talk about it again.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ana Vivo podcast. We welcome your feedback and ideas. You can learn more about us by simply Googling the word Ana Vivo. This podcast is supported by listeners like you. I am a licensed real estate broker with Compass Real Estate and a nationwide real estate matchmaker. We consult with you for free, find and vet the right real estate professional that specializes in the area and niche you need, are paid by that professional, and they get clients like yourself who want and need their unique specialty or winning track record. If you or someone you know is in the market to buy or sell real estate anywhere in the U.S., don't simply web search the highest paying advertiser. Let us use our licensed experience to find and vet the real and best professional for you. It costs you nothing but a phone call or email with me, and has saved my clients financially and emotionally. I'd be honored to serve, and you can reach me direct by email at tim.c.miller@outlook.com. And as always, to God be the glory.